Hey, and welcome to Dr. G Speaks. I am Dr. Kristen Guillory, and I am so very excited to help you experience a life of freedom, faith, and fun you may not even realize is possible. Listen, I know you feel held back, I know you feel stuck, and I know you are hiding. As a coach and the author of Look, Stop Hiding, How to Find Your Voice and Never Dim Your Light Again, you will get to listen to some amazing stories, receive some homework, that's the professor in me, and get some tools to help you live the life you deserve. It's time to quiet the noise and walk in the fullness of who God created you to be. It's time to stop hiding and start thriving. Together, we'll uncover your potential and ignite your journey to a fulfilling life, a life of freedom. Hey, and greetings from Santorini, Greece. Yassas is hello in Greek. I've learned just a couple of words. Eferisto is thank you. I am here hosting the Sabbatical Experience Retreat, my first retreat in Europe. And actually, it's my first international retreat outside of the three cruises that I've hosted before, or retreat experiences on a cruise ship. So as I was just sitting on the balcony, like literally, it's such a picturesque scene. I'm sitting on the balcony, like literally, y'all, I was literally sitting on the balcony looking at the view, looking at the Aegean Sea, and I just started reflecting on something. And I immediately came in my room to record this. So, I mean, literally, this is how fast this topic came, because at first it was, am I going to record a short video, which I still might, or nope, God said, no, make this a podcast episode. I thought it was going to be another topic. So as I was sitting, I was scrolling social media, and there was a post from an amazing woman I know who was sharing just things that she's learned this last year and how she's walking in more freedom and much more. And I remember reading it and listening to her a little bit, thinking, I wonder what she might share if she would have sat on this just a little bit longer. Not to say that she necessarily needed to. And then my mind started to go to things that I've thought about before. This is a woman that I know fairly well, not that well. And I know she's been through some very hard things, and I'm so proud of her. And sharing so many different revelations, I remember thinking, I wonder if she's healed enough to share. I wonder. She could be. I began to then think about how many people are sharing things that they've learned and revelations seemingly too soon. And again, this is something that I have thought about for years off and on. It's the person who is sharing something online and they're mentioning 2 weeks ago, I lost this family member and grief is hard, and here's what I'm doing. And there are times when I have known that that person should not have been posting. And I began to see it more and more and more and more. And I began to think, I wonder why we have this thing in us. And I've been there, okay? Let's not get it twisted. I've been there. I wonder why we have this thing in us that tells us that I have to make what I'm going through into a teachable. I have to make this thing I'm experiencing into a teachable. December 2016, I had my first and thankfully last surgery. It was an emergency surgery to remove a benign tumor that was wrapped around one of my ovaries. And it happened so fast. I was hanging out with some college classmates, and my stomach started to hurt. 30 minutes later, I'm in the bathroom of one of the women, and I'm laying on the floor because my stomach's hurting so much. I say, I'm going to leave. I get to my car. I'm in so much pain. I can't even start my car. Like, press engine, press ignition, press start. I couldn't do it. I called one of the women and asked her to take me to the ER. I'm so grateful she was still there. I'm so grateful she was able to take me to the ER. And I am in the most pain I've ever been in. It was a level 12 pain. I got 2 doses of morphine and it did nothing. They finally gave me a third dose, and the pain went from like a 12 to a 9, maybe a 10. So anyway, I have the surgery and I am home and I have to be down for the count for 6 weeks. I can't work out for 6 weeks. I wasn't really even able to walk straight for almost 2 weeks from this surgery. I essentially had a C-section. And I remember like week 3, I was like, "Ooh, I'm gonna use this message to tell people that blah, 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 blah." Like I just knew I was gonna use it as a teachable. I knew that I was, and I knew it. And I never did until now. While I've mentioned the story here and there, it's really been along these same lines that I thought I was going to use this story and turn it into a metaphor and encourage all these people where God was telling me, let me heal you. Let this experience be for you right now. And it doesn't mean that there have not been things I've experienced and God led me to share maybe an encounter I had with someone at an airport as a story. What I'm talking about are things that are connected to pain, that are connected to trauma, that are connected to some type of hurt. And it seems that at times, sometimes we share too soon. And let me tell you, here's what it looks like, because I don't think there is any intentional harm behind when we do it, but we are a people who at times find it difficult to be still, find it difficult just to sit in the pain and let God heal you, right? That sucks. Like, let me turn this into something to help people out. Let me turn this into something because I don't want to just sit in this. Well, sometimes you need to sit in it and use other healing measures. I was leading one of my events, and there was an amazing woman who attended who was saying that she was writing a book. And the book was going to share her story, and her story includes a lot of traumatic experiences from when she was younger. And she said, I want to write the book to heal me. It's going to be healing for me to write the book. And my encouragement to her was heal a little bit more, because the writing of the book can be cathartic. But after you experience that catharsis, now what is the book you're going to write for your audience? Right? Sometimes the writing is cathartic and maybe we'll use it in some ways, but we probably want to write our story, write books, write messages from a place of a little bit more healing. It doesn't mean that you have to be healed at a level 8, 9, 10. It's not what that is. But y'all, here's truth. I listen to some music, in particular gospel music. I can listen to music that seemingly is uplifting and it's so heavy. It's so heavy because I can tell that when the person wrote it, they were in such a dark moment. And I'm like, you unintentionally are transferring that darkness into this song, and I'm listening to it. When I have heard different artists saying, yeah, I wrote that song and it was the lowest point of my life. I was in such a heavy and dark place, and that's when I wrote the song. So you are giving us your heaviness and darkness. There's a difference between I wrote this in that moment, and after that darkness lightened a little bit, I went and rewrote. Y'all, there's a very fine line here, and nothing that is finite. Ultimately, this thing you wrote, this message you have, is God leading you to share it? And is He leading you to share it right now and in this way? I was working with a client who wanted to talk about caregiving. And she was sharing that story, and something in particular happened in the realm of caregiving within like the last 6 weeks. And she was working on this message, and my encouragement to her was, not yet. I do believe you're going to share this, but it's too fresh for you to share it through the lens and understanding that I believe you want to. And as soon as I said, not yet, she said, you're right. The interesting thing and beautiful thing, everybody, is I have encouraged many, many people, not yet. And as soon as they heard me say that, they said, you know what? That aligns with what God has been telling me. That's in alignment with what I've been thinking. And I think what it is, y'all, is we believe that time is running out. And in a sense, right, it is. We can't get time back. But God can restore that time. God can restore what it is you think you missed if I waste time. How many of you need to implement a not yet into something you're doing? The number of people that I've communicated with over the last couple of years that I've encouraged them not yet when it comes to dating. I really want to meet my husband. I really want to meet my wife. I really want to start dating and learning a little bit more about their story. It was not yet. Just recently, there were multiple people that I conversed with in a span of about 3 weeks, all about dating or marriage. And I was led to encourage 90% of them with a not yet. There was an amazing woman I was chatting with who was sharing different things that she wants men to do. And as she was sharing it, I was able to discern a little bit of anger that she had underneath that, a little bit of projection onto the men. And my encouragement to her was don't date for 90 days. There's a little bit of, frustration or anger you have at the men that unintentionally you're going to project onto them when you meet them. And I think take this next 90 days to really heal that and work through that, whether it's in therapy, prayer, journaling, grounding, so many things. And when I said that, she said, yep, Dr. G, that's in alignment with what God has been telling me. I chatted with a gentleman recently who really desires to be married. And after learning his story and learning that he and his girlfriend of over 11 years broke up a year ago, and he's tried to date since then and different women and conversing with him and finding out, hey, when is the last time you just went 5 months without dating? And he's at high school. And he was telling me that the person that he dated was his best friend and he was considering marriage and he really, really cared for her. And it's only been a year. And what I said to him is, it sounds like you have not really given yourself the chance to heal from that relationship. Although it's been a year, you started kind of dating someone 2 months after that. So my encouragement to him was, not yet. Take about a year. Now, I said a year. A year was very difficult for him to grasp, but that's okay. And so he said, but I do hear you. I do think I need 6 months. I do. I said, because you want to get married and don't you want to meet a woman when you are healed enough and not unintentionally comparing her to your ex from whom you're not healed? There was someone else, the same conversation like, hey, have you ever considered not dating for a second? Just to work through whatever it is you need to work through. It doesn't mean you're going to be perfect at the end of it. That's not what it is, but healed enough. So, not yet, because too many people are not leaning into the not yet, and they want to turn their pain into a message for people. While I believe the heart behind wanting to turn what they've gone through into a message to help people is good. Let's be real. Part of the message is I don't know if I want to sit down and really deal with what I'm going through. Let's keep it 100 for real. And I don't think it's a conscious decision. It is easier to tell people about what I'm going through and what they should do when they're in this rather than kind of face it. That's hard, y'all. I absolutely get it. Healing and being pruned is hard. It is so hard. There is a woman I know who is going through a divorce, and she said, in about 5 years, I know I'm going to use what I've been through to help other women in about 5 years. And she said, no, it needs to be five because I need time to heal. So not yet, but I know that. And I thought that was such wisdom on that end. There are too many speakers who were on stages bleeding on their audiences because they did not implement the not yet before they shared what they were going through. Now, I'm not saying that there is a formula to the time. So this is not me saying the formula time is 6 months. It may be 6 months for you. The woman I just mentioned, it's 5 years for her. But generally, y'all, if you're being invited to share your story and you just went through something really hard, a loss of a loved one, a loss of a job, a loss of a relationship, and you're being invited to share that within a month or two or three, I don't recommend that. Go heal. Not yet. Not yet. There was a gentleman that I was coaching, and one of the things he wanted to work on, so we were working on his speaking career and events. And he also said, Dr. G, I need to work on my health. I turned 37 and my health is not where it needs to be. My blood pressure is too high. I've gained some weight. My mental health is not where I really want it to be. So I really, really, really want to tend to this. So we began working together in July of that year. And I said, well, here's what we can do. We can get everything ready and laid out, but you don't launch until January or you don't launch until December. And he said, I think he said something like, what about May? And I said, May of next year? He said, yeah. I said, why? He said, I really just want to give myself time to heal. I probably stood up in my mind if I didn't stand up in his face and say, that is magnificent. One of the greatest gifts that you can give your audience is to you literally embody what it is you are telling people to do connected to healing and hope. That's one of the greatest things you can give somebody is I can still be hurt and be sad, but I am showing you. I can tell you all day long. There's a lot of people who are telling people how to survive through grief and thrive through grief. There's a lot of people who are talking about self-care. They're not walking it out at all. At all, y'all. And I know you're thinking, well, that would mean I have to pause this for a couple years. Let me just tell y'all, when I truly began embodying wellness and self care in my life, like not just talking about it, when I began, like that was who I am, there was a shift, not only in opportunities, there was a shift in the takeaways of my audience. I've actually always, not always, I have led sessions on self care for years and years and years and years and years. And I've always been booked and always got really great feedback. But when I started embodying it, the feedback was different. There are relationship coaches who are coaching and they're not healed enough from a previous relationship. So they're unintentionally bleeding on their clients because there's projection, because you are looking at your clients through the lens of your previous relationship. There are grief coaches who should not be coaching yet, and they're unintentionally helping their client through their lens of what they went through in grief. Y'all, it's a not yet. It's not yet. There are people who have asked me if I would do different things, and I would say, "Oh no, that's not for me yet." And it wasn't even from a place of not healing. I didn't have enough training underneath. And there have been times when I was led to share before I thought. Absolutely. In 2013, when my nephew went to be with the Lord in March, I remember thinking, okay, I'm not going to speak the rest of the year. Like my speaking is going to go because I am so sad. I'm grieving. And I got an invitation to speak at a women's conference in August of that year. And I was led to talk a little bit about my grief journey by that time. But that was the soonest that I publicly shared anything. The only time I publicly, like in a group, shared before was I was a professor at that time. And when I returned to work 2 weeks later, I shared it with my students just so they could be aware of what the last 2 weeks were, where I was. There was no message at the end. There was no bow at the end. It was just, here is what's been going on. So, what I'm saying, y'all, about the not yet, there's a difference between literally telling a friend, telling your small group, telling your family member, telling a partner, telling your colleagues, here's where I am and here's what's going on. You're not sharing it to teach anything. You're not sharing it for there to be any takeaways. You're saying, this is where I am. So, I want y'all to hear the difference. Hey, this is where I am. I'm still hurting and I'm doing my best, right? Compared to you are online giving people inspirational notes or tips on what to do, or you're on stages trying to help, or you're a coach trying to do these things. Maybe it's not yet, or maybe it is right now. Maybe you're in a place and you don't think you're healed enough, but you are, and there's fear there. So at the end of the day, pray and seek wise counsel and consider, do I need to implement a not yet into my life? Do I need to implement a not yet? I've worked with clients who have wanted to do multiple things, and I have encouraged some that project you want to launch in 1 month, not yet. Focus fully on this project you have now. Focus on that. Do well by that. Steward that well. And that project that you want to launch in a month, launch that in 4 months. Launch that in 4 months, not yet. Maybe God has put a not yet in your life where you want things to speed up in your personal life or your professional life. And God is saying, not yet. There's a reason for the not yet. Okay, God, there's a not yet. What do you want me to learn? What do you want me to do in this not yet? Not yet. Not yet. So, what courageous step do you need to take where you might need to say a not yet? And this does not negate the things that you need to do right now. That's a different message because there's some stuff you need to do right now. You know that and you need to move in that. Absolutely. But there's also some things that are not yet. It could even be a phone call. It could be I need to talk to this person. Not yet. Let me tell y'all, God will show us. He will tell us if we are still enough to let him speak into us what we need to hear. A little while ago, I got very upset at someone, very upset. And it takes a lot for me to get very upset. I was very, very upset. Like, I even told a friend I was pissed. And she was like, I've never heard you say that. I was very upset at someone. And I remember walking on the beach in my righteous anger. The anger I had was righteous, and I allowed myself to feel it out. And I was going to reach out to this person the next day so we could have a conversation and me lovingly go in all truth. And I'm walking on the beach, and then I went to sit down, and I heard God say, let me handle it. Let me handle it. AKA, not yet. Let me handle it. And so instead of calling this person, I wound up talking to a friend of mine, and I'm so glad. So the person and I wound up speaking at the end of the week, and I'm so grateful that I was obedient to God's not yet. I really am. I really am, because the conversation, the 5 days later, went in the way that it was supposed to go. Because if we would have chatted when I wanted to in the flesh, it would not have ended well. So that was a not yet, a very recent not yet. Like God said, not yet. Even this trip, this retreat in Santorini in 2019, I visited for the first time and thought, oh, I'm going to host something here in 2021 because Colombia, a retreat I was going to host in Colombia was going to be March of 2020. COVID happens. So everything is pushed back. That was a not yet. I visited Santorini again, April 2024 during my sabbatical. And God reminded me, now it's time. Y'all, I've lost nothing by hosting this retreat in 2025 compared to 2021. Y'all, not yet. Trust God, even when you don't understand that his not yet could be connected to so much abundance that not yet could be connected to it's time a month later. So trust him more than your timeline. Trust him in the midst of your healing where you are afraid to sit and face yourself. Too often we move too fast because I don't want to face the pain of this loss, of this feeling of rejection, of this thing where God is saying, will you let me heal you? Will you let me be with you? Will you let me comfort you? Will you be courageous and be an active participant in your healing, on your healing journey? Because on the other side, imagine what you are going to be able to share. Use discernment, pray, and remember not yet. Your affirmation for today: I trust God's timing in my life completely. I only move in God's timing and reject rush. And a bonus affirmation is, it's okay to take the steps to be healed enough for my calling. It's okay to take the steps to be healed enough for my calling. Thank you so much for listening to the Dr. G Speaks podcast. And if you enjoyed this episode, please share it with your friends and family. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time. Deuces.